I guess it would help if I unmuted my mic. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to my nerd cave. I have expanded my Funko Pop collection, and Nina here is now the protector of the Funko Pops. How are you guys doing? So let's see, we got Sandy. What's up? Michael's here. Nether. What's up? So I didn't put in like the event right away like earlier this week. It has been a heck of a week, guys. But I think that's always. I think that is always my current state of affairs is it's been a heck of a week. So much going on. So yeah. So what I wanted to cover today, and I know I'm a little late. I was a little bit late. I was getting my coffee. I slept in, probably contributed to most of me just, not being here on time is because I slept in. You want your booster? I want my booster too. Oh my gosh. I've just about had it. I have absolutely had it with anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers. I've had it with all of them. I'm not being very nice on social media right now. And normally I try really hard to take the high road and be nice, but I have taken the gloves off, and that's probably that's like very out of character for me. I tend to not be that person. So I don't really like what this pandemic we should just call it that, the pandemic, because my goodness, um, what a hot mess this has been. But there you go. I've not been very kind. It's a damn demic. A pandemic, right? Damdemic. Yeah. It's really hard. Oh God, talking is hard today. So let's see. Nina's just hanging out. Let's have a look at Nina and see what she's up to. She's just being chill. Hey, Neen. She wanted to do the science with me today. So she's over here. She is the keeper of the Funko Pops and my supervisor. We all deserve a little Nina time. Nina time is nice. I need to check out this video about creationists now trying to fight anti-vaxxers online. I never thought the leopards would eat my face. So, okay. I'm trying to get that link, and it's, for whatever reason, it wants me to either hide it or show it. I can't click on the link right away. Okay. Crap. So from my Restream control panel, I'm trying to click on this link and it says show or hide, like to the whole comment. So I'll have to try to look for it elsewhere. Let's see. Maybe I can type it in. Type the whole thing in. utu.be/QW 8X. Is that an L or an I? I'm gonna guess that's an L. L shift J X lowercase g. See? It says video unavailable. So maybe that's an I. Yeah, it says video unavailable. So boo on that. It's okay. Whatever. You can click it in the YouTube chat, Mel, and that works. Okay, I would have to pull up my own chat on the side. So let me do that. I'll go to my channel. Okay. 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 So is it the anti-vaxxers? So the creationists are going after the anti-vaxxers? Is that it? Save it for later. Okay, I got it. I got it to save it for later. Okay. So I mentioned about taking the gloves off with anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers. Let me see if I can find. I posted all of this on Twitter before. So let me see if I can find this for you guys really quick. I was supposed to have this all up before, but I didn't because reasons. We're also going to talk about the Texas abortion law. Oh my God. It's now being put on notice by the UN, essentially, saying that it breaks international laws. So we're going to talk a bit about that today. All right. So let me share my screen. So this is from my Twitter account. All right. So I've kind of just taken the gloves off. And this was about the Mu variant coming up. So many new variants of COVID, and the vaccinated people are getting blamed for it now. Isn't that nice? There are so many bad takes and so much incorrect information that I swear, I think so many people failed science class, at least biology. All right. So I posted a couple of things. I get it's really fun for some of you folks to make conspiracy theories and feel like you're a part of some secret knowledge group, much like flat earthers, but it's just not checking out. The facts contradict what the willfully ignorant want to believe. Get vaccinated and stop this nonsense. You're embarrassing yourselves. So, oh my goodness. And so, of course, I got quite a few responses to the second one. What people fail to understand is that the more people it infects, meaning unvaccinated people, the more this virus is going to mutate into something worse. And that is exactly what we are seeing. If everyone got vaccinated and stopped being so willfully ignorant and petty, the virus would slow down on mutation rates. Do you know how many people I mean, it says 30. It actually got much larger than that, and I muted the thread because I wasn't about to go back and repeat myself to a bunch of petulant children. Hey, Native Atheist. Hey, Penultima. How you doing? So, it's like Facebook is like a toilet. It's just essentially a giant toilet with people who have verbal diarrhea. Um So, I go, and then tell everyone you failed science class by posting a laughing emoji or conspiracy theory. Go. That made some people mad. I really don't care. Let's look at what happened after that. Hold on. I know I have other. Yeah. Oh, okay. So, wait, where was the next one? I can't work Twitter so great sometimes. Here we go. So this was a response. These Margie, Large Marge, that's what I thought of. I thought of Large Marge from the Pee Wee Herman film, but Large Marge was like way cooler than this person. This is what she said. Please do your research. Natural immunity from getting the virus is better than anything else. Do you not know that people getting vaccinated are still getting the virus and still spreading it? The vac does not cure anything. Why in the world would you ever consider getting an experimental drug? Stop drinking the Kool-Aid and watching the news. Good Lord, woman. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid and watching the news. So, I'm saying also, do your research. Please do your research. It's like, I did. And I gave her, and how I did my research is I went to an expert who's literally done research in this sort of thing. And I asked them, what do you think? And then they said, here you go. And they told me what they thought. And then I took that information and gave it to my family and friends. And I'm like, hey guys, this expert says I need to go and do this. They did the research. They have patents and stuff. So I'm going to do what they say because they know what the hell they're talking about. Not Margie, not Largy Margie here. Her last name had the word mud in it, and I wanted to call her Marge Mud. That, the rest of her name, it's like MUD was in her name, in her last name. Oh my goodness. Hey, Mr. Unite for the Children. And Harmonica Man, what's up? I hate I couldn't do your birthday thing, Harmonica Man. I had lecture from 6 to 9 on Thursday. So it was like I had to do that cuz job. But it was fun. It was a good lecture. I had, I love my job. So it's great. So let's see. True fact. Mr. Unite for the Children says, true fact, polio would have disappeared much faster without the meddling vaccine. Well, it would have killed everybody. When you but the thing is it still spreads, It's like, hey, origin of language. Natural immunity is not better if you don't follow the science here is an anecdotal for you. Yep, I didn't get whooping cough vaccine because I had natural immunity at 29. I got whooping cough bad. I'm still getting prize winning comments. That's right. All righty. Oh, I think he was being sarcastic. Unite for the Children. I think Unite for the Children was being, I think that was sarcasm. There's actually still somebody who's living in an iron lung because they contracted polio when they were 6. I think he posted a video recently. I'll see if I can find that, and we'll watch that and talk about it. All right. And then Christy says, Melody, as long as Trumpers are dying, I'm willing to stay at home again all winter. Now, I don't really condone the death of others, but it's really hard for me to have sympathy for people who choose to not get vaccinated, spread a lethal virus to other people, and then complain when they get sick and end up in the hospital. I really have no sympathy for people like that. I really don't. So, and Ashley said, Christy, that is a pretty hateful thing for you to just randomly say. I hope and pray you find peace for whatever hate you have in your heart to make you say something like that. So I thought I didn't realize she was talking to Christy, and I thought she was talking to me about my comment. And then I deleted my comment later because I messed up. See, that's what you do. You can go back and delete a comment if you mess up. Or you can at least apologize and say, I messed up here. All right. But I'd rather delete a comment because it can be taken out of context. And if I mess up, I'd rather just delete it than say that. So Margie says, people that say they got the vaccine and did their research, I say you are the research. Well, I mean, I accepted a product of research. And I tell you, I might have tested positive for the Delta variant, but I haven't had any symptoms of anything. So I didn't need to get tested. So there you go. I think it was something about the meddling vaccine. I think polio would have been like eradicated much faster. Something like that. But I think he was joking because that's just so absolutely ridiculous. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. So it was probably, I was assuming it was satire. Somebody comes to my house and says something stupid like that, I'll be like, oh, you're joking. And that's how I took it. I legit took it as joking. All right. Margie, and this is what I said. Do my research. And that's when I talked about, this is what I did. I went to an expert. And they're like, so what? Oh boy. And here we go. Heather says, people who actually have had COVID have better immunity than those who have just had the vaccine. So Nether. Nether. There you go. That is a common misconception. And that was brought up. There are plenty of studies worldwide that prove this. It's just not being researched in the US for some reason. And so I, of course, send this person, and I told Margie that she was wrong. And I posted vaccine protection. And I was like, Heather, too, here you go. And then Margie says, Melody, for your information, 2 of my good friends are research scientists. So I had mentioned the one expert in immunology that I have. And so she thought it was an own to say 2 of my good friends are research scientists and physicians. I don't think they have any reason to lie to me or anyone else. The vaccine is causing red blood cells to stick together. Not good. They're sticking together, you say? And then, of course, I got somebody posting a meme there. They just posted a random meme, which I thought was pretty funny. I'm like, okay. And so I even posted like USA Today news articles about, it was fact checking. I'm like, here you go. Here's something that you can read for your scientifically illiterate brain. And then Margie's like, Heather, truth. But it is being researched in the US. The research is just being kept from the public, and doctors who stand up are ruined. It is sickening sand and criminal. I think she meant sad. Hey, Margie, there's an edit button. You can go back and correct your typos. And then Bradley goes, fully vaccinated people are still getting COVID, and some have even died from it after being fully vaccinated. And then Butch is saying, that's not true. Think about it. Mu variant discovered in January. I think he meant to say was discovered. And you just hear about it now. It's HEAR, but okay. Sounds cruel, but let Mother Nature take her course. Okay. And then, I address the meme person. Yay, we have reached the Facebook memes mean something portion of the comments. Thanks for your useless contribution. Yeah. They're hiding it from us. So that's, when they were saying that stuff, then that's when I had posted a comment about some of y'all just really love your conspiracy theories because you think you're part of a secret knowledge group. And they're like, nuh-uh, nuh-uh. I can't deal with it anymore. And then Mary says, Melody, or maybe tell everyone you failed common sense class by posting a heart emoji. Not up for debate. You have your opinion and I have mine. Well, my opinions are based in facts. That's the difference. Opinions, not all opinions are equal. So that's where we run into a problem. They think we should all just say, hey, it's okay for you to think this. It's okay for you to go around and not believe in the virus and cough on people and lick packages and stuff. So I'm like, it's not, I didn't even pay attention to Mary. I just ignored her. And so after I send Marge all those resources, I told Heather, I'm like, that is not correct, but I already sent Marge all of my resources. She didn't read them. I suspect you won't either. Just bury your head in the sand and hope you don't die, I guess. Oh my goodness. Fun times with Marge. So yeah. And then I told Bradley, I'm like, it's exceedingly rare. While no vaccine is 100% effective at preventing infection, your chances of surviving this virus and not getting a tube shoved down on your throat, flipped on your stomach, and peeing/pooping through tubes certainly increases. You can get COVID while vaccinated. But the likelihood that you're gonna die, it's just really bad luck if you do, to be quite honest. We're talking about the fringes. Um, we're talking about the fringes because statistically speaking, if you're vaccinated and you die from COVID, there are probably lots of other things going on. Perhaps you're immunocompromised, maybe you're very elderly, um, you're like 75 or 80 or something. Maybe you are struggling with cancer. There's a lot of different reasons, that people can die even though they're vaccinated. But it's a very low percentage. Um, yeah, I told Mars, I am using the product of research. I am an awesome data point. I have not once had COVID-19. I won't be in the hospital praying for my life. I won't have tubes shoved down my throat. I won't have a massive hospital bill. Thank you, science research. What a lot of these people fail to understand is that in the American healthcare system, if you are high risk for anything, you pay more money for your health care, particularly if it's preventable. For instance, if you're a smoker, or use tobacco or anything like that, you have to pay a higher premium. You have to pay more money because your risk for a lot of other things increases. So now what insurance companies are doing, I think Biden's come out and said, okay, we're going to we're going to get monoclonal antibody treatments for free. We're going to make that free to the public. But, you could just make your own for free by getting a vaccine. But yes, that's the irony. The irony from these anti-vaxxers. They're like, I don't want an untested drug, but they're the first ones to beg for monoclonal antibodies. And they don't realize it's the same damn thing, except you're getting antibodies from a mouse or a goat or something like that, or a sheep. You're getting antibodies that were generated in an animal and put into you just to do what a vaccine would do, where you would make your own antibodies. But they will beg for those treatments. And I'm like, you guys are so stupid. I mean, you could just, well, this is a plandemic. They're trying to make money off of us. Oh, wait, let me go get this expensive, freaking treatment. That's where the money's being made, you dummies. I mean, for real, people need to stop being so ignorant. It's just at this point, there's no excuse. You can make your own antibodies for free and not have a giant healthcare bill. So what's happening now? Insurance companies, if you have been infected with COVID, they're going to consider that a chronic illness because a lot of people are still suffering after effects from their infection. And if you're not vaccinated and you go to the hospital, you're going to be slapped. I've seen some bills that were pretty close to $1 million, but the standard is right around $500,000. And so at some point in time, accountability is going to hit you in your bank account, because insurance companies will be like, well, you chose to not get vaccinated. That's fine. But we know that vaccines reduce your risk of being hospitalized. And that's what this is. It's based on statistics. That's how they determine how much to charge you. What are your statistics? What are your chances of getting a horrible disease? And so, I mean, they even sell, like, for out here, you can buy supplemental cancer insurance. Did you guys know that? You can buy supplemental cancer insurance because after a while, there's only a certain amount of money that your insurance company will pay for. Usually the cap is about $1 million. So if if you get cancer and your treatments go over $1 million after you've met your deductible, they're not required to pay for it anymore. Not at all. So they have supplemental cancer insurance that you can buy just in case you get the cancer. And even that has a cap. So here you go, guys. People don't get it. This is going to get expensive, and that's going to be the only way you're going to get people vaccinated, is if you hit them in the bank account. Let me catch up on the chat really quick. Yeah. It was kind of rude, wasn't it, Harmonica Man? The people in these comments are rude. Not our comments here on the video, but in the Facebook chat. Like here that I'm showing. Yeah, it's really hard, guys. Nether and Unite for the Children. It's hard to tell the difference. it's hard to tell the difference between who's joking and who's being serious. It's like when I read The Onion now, which is a parody newspaper, the headlines are they're just like so on the nose that you just feel like it, and they're nuts. It's crazy headlines, and they just seem like they're real. And I'm like and it's not. So when parody ends up looking like reality, it's really hard. I get it. Um, so I responded to Butch there because Butch was like, I mean, lots of misspellings. It's okay. I said viruses mutate primarily in unvaccinated people. Can't make lots of virus in your body if the virus can't infect enough cells to mutate, hence us seeing these mutant variants killing unvaccinated people. Nobody wants to listen to that. And so I'm now a brand new conspiracy theory is that people um, who are vaccinated, they're the ones that are causing the mutations. And in this same chat, I don't know if I posted it on Twitter or not. In this same chat, somebody says to me that viruses mutate without people. They mutate without infecting people. And I'm like, what the hell planet do you live on? That is not how any of this works. Viruses cannot make copies of themselves by themselves. That's why there's always a constant debate about whether or not we should consider them living, because they have to infect people in order to make copies of themselves. So while some vaccinated people can get infected, there's considerably less virus there and less opportunities for that virus to mutate because there's not enough virus infecting the cells. It's like they have to infect people and mutate like around 900,000 times for a beneficial mutation to show up. Most of the time, it's not beneficial. And how are they going to do that? Not in vaccinated people, in unvaccinated people. But nobody wants to listen to that either. They think viruses and bacteria are the same. And I have seen that on Twitter. I have seen that on Facebook. They're like antibiotics. No, antibiotics do not work on viruses. Now, if you have a secondary infection, if you have COVID-19 and you manage to get a secondary infection from a bacteria, source of bacteria, then yes, you'll be given antibiotics for that secondary infection. They're like, well, how do we have these super bugs like bacteria? They can mutate without people. I'm like, that's the difference between bacteria and viruses. You poop spackled fart muppet. Viruses cannot mutate by themselves, but people think that they can. And I can sit there and say, no, you're wrong. I can throw out memes. I can sit there and have actual sources, and they'll be like, no, you're a sheeple. I'm like, says the person who's probably eating horse paste right now. I have completely taken off the gloves. Hello, brain bug. How you doing? Oh my goodness. Everything's nuts right now. It's so crazy. All right. And so Margie's like, I know 2 scientists, because I had mentioned the one expert in immunology that I know, Doc Savage. He's awesome, by the way. He's been a wonderful friend. So shout out to Doc Savage, who's currently Tony Starking a company. He's Tony Starking a company in Europe right now. So it's like he stays really busy. But we still chat a lot. We text and stuff. It's cool. we keep up to date on the COVID things. So Margie's like, a whole 2 scientists, and she was like, I know them. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I'm a published scientist, so 3 now. My colleagues are scientists, my coworkers, my friends, and my co-authors. I got scientist friends around the world. You know what I do? I listen to experts in the field because that's how science works. He is a biotech consultant, contractor, I guess, Doc Savage. He has been published in Nature. He has patents on different things associated with vaccines. He's done cancer immunotherapies. He's more of an admin role now. He helped with the rollouts of the COVID-19 vaccines in America and in Europe. So the AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Moderna. So I'm going to listen to him and not Margie on Facebook, who says she knows 2 doctors, like physicians. I know 2 scientists. Well, 3 now, if you want to count me. And let me tell you, I am not an immunologist. That's why I listen to the immunologists. So then this person, I didn't even read this. Look at all this. Listen, miss. Listen, Miss Know-It-All. Either you believe your government or you don't. Has nothing to do with the government. It has to do on whether or not the people in the government are stating facts. You can't have it both ways. And then there's all this jargon here. I don't even know. I mean, I think there's a couple periods in there to where you can pause. They said a lot of rage typing here. And then they posted something. I don't know what that is. Injected proof. And by the way, Facebook was just like, see, Tubian, I know. They said, just tell him Large Marge was seen. Yep. So I didn't even read all this. I don't even, whatever. I'm like, Deborah, I didn't read that. Little laughing emojis. Hope you had fun rage typing because I don't care. You are off your rocker. Don't get vaccinated. Just do us a favor and don't demand everyone treat you if you need to get hospitalized for being willfully ignorant. And that's the kind of thing, that's essentially what I'm mad about. I don't want to bleed out in a hallway from being in a car accident because the ICU beds are full of people who thought the virus was fake, who would not get vaccinated. And they were like, well, it's a pandemic. I'm not getting that vaccine. I'll survive COVID. And you're like, then why are you going to the ICU? Stay home. Don't demand hospital care if you're going to be that way. I mean, that's the very least you could do is not take up ICU beds, Oh, let's see. I don't need to believe I am scientifically literate and know how to fact check basic information. That's right, Nether. And Sandy says, I have to admit, I used the best advice I could from both the scientists and personal responsibility for taking care of my own health. Had to admit I wasn't doing all I could do, still don't. So I got my double jab, even though I'm basically a hermit who lives alone in the woods. Just tell him Large Marge sent you. Yes. I mentioned that before too, being I was like, Marge here being, mm, it's hard dealing with Facebook. It really is. And then I get yelled at when I point out facts and stuff. And they're like, no, you're just wrong. I'm like, what is your education? Because I can tell you mine and you can either believe me or not. I really don't care, but please just stay home. Stay home if you're going to like get sick and don't use up all of our resources. Quit stressing out our frontline healthcare workers. They are already rationing care, I believe, in Idaho. Up in the triage game, saying, well, I'm sorry, unvaccinated people will not be given priority now. So it's just like, ah. So it makes me nuts. And I try the best I can, but honestly, it's just, I lose my mind. Let me find there was a couple more bad takes. I don't know how to navigate regular Twitter. I use TweetDeck. And so on regular Twitter, trying to use regular Twitter is so weird for me because I'm used to TweetDeck. I don't know how to. There we go. Okay. Let me see if I can find something. Ooh, I can see me on my Twitter because I still stream on Periscope. I was trying to find something else, man. Where was it? Oh yeah, here we go. Let's take a look at this. Somebody sent me this really bad take. If you are a man who is unjabbed, something you have will be valuable as time goes on. You will be able to name your price. My body, my choice. So the first way that I read this, and apparently I read it wrong, is that she's willing to sell herself to men who aren't vaccinated. So so it's just like I read that wrong. Because I saw the my body, my choice, and I was like, oh, okay. So she's gonna sell herself to a guy who is unvaccinated. Name your price, guys. And that's how I read it. And that apparently was not the correct interpretation. Apparently it's the guys who can name their price, and women are going to want to pay it. But it's just dumb. I love bad vaccine takes. This thing is so funny. Look at this. I had my teeth cleaned today, was asked on a form if I was vaxxed, wrote no. When no one was looking, hygienist took off her mask, put her face next to mine, and whispered that the side effects were so bad from the first shot, she was hoping to avoid a second. I squeezed her hand. The side effects that you get from a COVID-19 vaccination, the side effects you get are similar to that of a cold. They can be. You can be tired. You can have fatigue. That is your body's immune response to the vaccine. That doesn't mean you got COVID. It means, yeah, you got tired from the vaccine. I was tired. I got both shots. I got the Pfizer, and my arm was sore. Yeah, my arm was sore from where they injected the site. I was just really tired. I didn't have I mean, maybe I had a runny nose and stuff. Maybe. But I have that all the time from allergies. So, if I had side effects, they were completely unrecognizable compared to my allergies. But yeah, that's my anecdotal experience. I've known other people who had just knocked them on their butts for a week. But honestly, I would rather just hang out in my bed and, like, binge watch Netflix from having a vaccine than be face down in a hospital ICU bed with a tube shoved down my throat and tubes in my pee hole. I say pee hole because a lot of people don't understand what a urethra is. Um, and also, they use fecal tubes too. So, you got tubes downstairs and upstairs, fully tubed. And so, I would much rather get vaccinated and be tired for a week than have to go and get a $500,000 hospital bill and possibly a disability associated from long COVID for the rest of my life. I don't really want that. And I get people are scared. I get that. And it's completely okay to be afraid. But even though it's scary and you have doctors and you have other people going, we got to care about others and we need to get this vaccine or it's going to stick around and it's going to kill more people. I don't want to be responsible for the death of another human. So I still wear a mask when I'm out and about, even though I'm vaccinated. Once I found out that vaccinated people can still spread the Delta variant, which is a lethal version of COVID-19. It's a lethal variant. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be responsible for killing somebody. I have crazy wild dreams at night anyway. Last thing I need is to have insomnia because I might have killed someone. I don't want that on my conscience. But other people seem to not care. They're like, "Oh, it's fine. They should have like been healthier." And then they're probably the same ones that don't believe in evolution. Survival of the fittest. They're the same people that are like, evolution's not real. Pro-life people who don't want to get vaccinated. But yet, they're more than willing to kill other people with their COVID juice coming out their mouths. Look at this. Does anyone know anything about the J&J jab shedding? My husband got it yesterday. I'm heartbroken. Not sure if I should go to a hotel or not. I'm pregnant and don't want anything to happen to the baby or him because he is about to catch these hands. Pregnant people can get vaccinated, and it's highly encouraged that pregnant people get vaccinated. Hey, Doc Fearsome. Hey, Doc Fearsome, what's going on? So, there are women who are losing their babies in hospital from COVID-19. Women who are losing their lives and women who are losing their babies or pregnant people. I need to not, because you can have pregnant people that are not women. Pretty cool how that works. So pregnant people are dying in the hospital and pregnant people are losing their babies from COVID-19. And you can get vaccinated. So this person says, wow, get the hell out of there for at least 3 months. Do not have sex with him. And think about divorce. A person needs to be on the same page with their spouse. I dated for 7 years before marriage. My religion, family, and conservatism were big factors. And this is why. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, B. It's rough. You don't want it on your conscience that you might contribute to harm, permanent, disability or death, But this is pretty crazy. You can check out bad vaccine takes. I think one of my favorite things um, that I found, this was pretty funny. Let me, a conservative, let me see. Where is that conservative who didn't believe that Fox News people were vaccinated? Here we go. Check this out. Todd Starnes. Biden says even Fox News has a mandatory vaccine policy. Is that true? That can't be true. Have Hannity and Tucker and the others gotten the vaccine? That just can't be true. It is true. There was an internal HR memo that was leaked. That was leaked to the news. It was a massive story. I actually talked about this on Hannibal and Monty's show. And one of their fair or foul questions was Fox News is pushing a lot of anti-vax rhetoric. Is it fair or foul that they require, COVID vaccination? If you're not vaccinated, you have to wear a mask and socially distance at Fox News. So you still have to follow all of the measures. If you're vaccinated, you don't have to do that. And they consider you fully vaccinated 2 weeks after you get your second shot. So they follow the science. And I said it's foul. I said it's foul because the only reason why Fox News even has mandatory vaccination policy, it's pretty much mandatory, is to keep them from being sued. It's about lawsuits. They don't care about people because if they actually did care about people, they wouldn't push all of this anti-vaxxer rhetoric. They don't care about their news anchors. We already know that, particularly since they have a history of sexually harassing the women there, and forcing them to wear certain clothes. We know that. They don't care about people. This is just to keep them from getting sued by their employees. And employees can get vaccinated if they want to. That is still a personal choice. But the rest of the policy there is so that they don't get sued. So I said it was foul. I thought it's not fair. It's not fair at all. And the fact that Todd Starnes, this huge conservative person, doesn't know that. Oh my goodness. Man. So Biden, if you're vaccinated, you're safe. This is a pandemic of the voluntary and vaccinated. That's actually 100% absolutely correct. If you're vaccinated, you should be enraged with the unvaccinated because they make you unsafe. Yes, they do. We must forthwith place heavy-handed mandates on the unvaccinated. And he calls that incoherent drivel. Here's the problem, Ben Shapiro. If the unvaccinated continue to get infected, that means we're going to get a worse version of the virus, which means all these vaccinated people that were responsible trying to get rid of this freaking virus, we're going to have to get a new shot. We're going to have to get a new vaccine. We could stamp this thing out, but everybody's going to have to get vaccinated. We could be done with this. Everybody's going to have to get vaccinated. So it's like, come on. Hello, Stuck in Florida. And we also got H. Hemp Hill. So and he knows this. I promise you Ben Shapiro's vaccinated because his wife's a doctor. I wonder if it's just a marriage of convenience now, and she's just promised not to leave him as long as she gets some of that money. Because I don't know how I don't think I could be married to Ben Shapiro. I couldn't do it. I could not morally be married to a man like this. I don't know how people do this. I'm like, nope, nope, nope. So vaccines are not perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than getting this illness. And just really quickly, did y'all watch this? It's like, okay. Okay. Twerk like it's my last day on this earth. Let the dollar make her work in my. The sounds that she makes, somebody pointed out. That's perfect impression of my car battery when it dies. That's just random. Alrighty. I'm trying to see if I found anything else. Okay. I think I covered all of that stuff. Yeah, this was a really funny thing from the doctor. Oh my goodness. Okay. We can stop looking at memes for the time being. Let's talk about It's all right, Nate. How you doing, man? We were just talking about bad vaccine takes. About to jump into the Greg Abbott nonsense. That dude. Oh my gosh. There's so much information about that. So, let me pull up a few articles, guys. Oh my goodness. Greg Abbott. His wife is shopping for the autumn collection. The I think the autumn collection that's made by Mrs. Waterford. Lots of pretty blue dresses in it. It's terrible. This is all homegrown crap, with Greg Abbott. So I was over on Godless Granny's channel. Greg Abbott is just batting 1,000, isn't he? He's destroying women's rights to choose, mask mandates. He doesn't want those. And now he's got a media censorship bill. He's taking off his pants and just crapping on the Constitution lately, it seems. He seems to think he can just do this sort of thing. So let's have a look. He signed this bill into law. Let me share my screen so you guys can have a look at this. All right. Not now. So, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, let me blow this up, signs social media censorship bill into law. So that's the latest hot mess from Greg Abbott. This new law requires social media companies with more than 50 million monthly users to disclose their content moderation policies and institute an appeals process. It would also require such social media companies to remove illegal content within 48 hours. Under the state legislation, users may sue the platforms to get their accounts reinstated, and the Texas Attorney General would be able to file suits on behalf of users. So, he's basically saying that private companies are not allowed to censor or kick off, ban anyone. And if they do, they can be sued. Oh, come on. Really? So that's essentially what he's doing here. So not only has he completely destroyed women's right to choose for their bodies, he's now saying private companies can't kick out users from their platform for this free service. So it's like Greg Abbott, I think is he on drugs or something? I think he's on drugs. Let's talk about this Texas abortion law. And it's clear that the White House isn't behind this. Experts say Texas Governor Greg Abbott's rape comments perpetuate a dangerous stereotype about sexual violence. So he said that this really upsets me because I'm a survivor of sexual assault. What in the heck and heck? Where did you go? Okay. I was trying to blow this up a bit so we could read it better. And then it was like, what? To another site. He said he's going to eliminate rape from his state. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that, Greg Abbott? You're terrible. Absolutely terrible at trying rape cases. Currently, they have about 2,134 untested rape kits. There were 6,000 untested rape kits back in February. So they're now down to 2,134. Stop it. Let's see. I forgot the name of the site. In the backlog. Okay. So you can check out. Oh, okay. So it is 6,108. Good Lord. So here you go. I'm going to put this in the chat here. Okay. Bye, Harmonica Man. Mel, is the death rate higher for Delta than it was for the original? Have any stats come out on that? I could just go check for myself. I think it is. It's certainly the prevalent strain that we're seeing with people in the hospital. We're not seeing that original strain with people in the ICU. So I would tend to suggest that it's the death rate's a bit higher with the Delta variant than the other. So here we go. So we have 6,108 untested kits in Texas. So he said that he's going to eliminate rape. He's doing a terrible job. And he's been the governor for a while now, since I believe it was 2014. In 2015, the Manhattan District Attorneys, let me see if I can blow this up so you guys can see this better. All right. So here's all of the different bills that they've gone through. So in 2015, Manhattan District Attorney's Office awarded the Austin Police Department almost $2 million to test 3,070 rape kits. So they're getting money to test kits. And the Dallas County received $1.6 million to test kits, investigate, and prosecute cases and re-engage survivors. I mean, in 2017, with the enactment of a tracking system law, Texas became the first state in the country to enact all 6 pillars of comprehensive rape kit reform. But they're still not doing so great. There's 6,018 rape kits that are untested. I mean, so this is still pretty crap, man. I thought I had seen that it was down to 1,000, like 2,000. Was it 2,034? But here we go. Greg Abbott, you suck at this. You're not going to get rid of rape. And these are just the reported ones. Okay. So the 6-week ban on abortion. Let's talk a little bit about how that's not going to work for this. People don't understand that the date of your pregnancy is determined. When you become pregnant, how they calculate that, they start with the first day of your last menstrual cycle. So that tacks on 2 weeks to supposed conception. So it adds 2 weeks to it. So what we're looking at is ladies have a month, maybe a month, 4 weeks to get an abortion from the time of their pregnancy. 4 weeks. 4, not 6. So it's really frustrating. And he's like, well, rape people, people victims of rape, they'll be able to get an abortion if they want. Well, you still got 6,108 kits that you haven't even tested. So I mean, I'm just pointing at this. 6,108 kits. They're in progress. They have a one-time inventory. They have a tracking system. Testing is in progress. All newly collected kits are being tested. Are they, though? They cannot. Basically, Greg Abbott said that, they won't have to get an abortion. They'll be able to get an abortion within that 6 weeks, but not after. So, and most of the time, women don't even know that they're pregnant until it's technically 6 weeks because they've missed a period. So when you miss a period, it's usually a month after you had your last one. When you miss your period, that's when you can have an abortion. You can have it prior to when you miss your period, but you won't know until you miss your period. So when you find out that moment that you're pregnant, you can then get an abortion. This isn't going to work. Because, when you miss your period, you might wait a week because you can miss a period for being stressed. You can be several days late just from stress. So you don't know that you're pregnant until you go to the doctor, and then the doctor runs a blood test. That usually takes a day or two. And then they go, okay, you're pregnant. Well, you're already past the 6 weeks at that point. So, why would I need to go to the doctor before I knew I was pregnant? This is going to require women to go to the doctor all the time to find out if they're pregnant or not, every single month before. And the thing is it may not even be testable. You may not have enough of the hormone in your blood to have enough for a positive test. So this is an anti-abortion law. It's just flat out people cannot get an abortion. They can't do it. It's impossible. How are they going to get an abortion at 6 weeks? That's when they find out that they're pregnant. That day? Oh, I better get an abortion today. Otherwise, I'm going to be breaking the law. How are you going to do that? It's impossible. Now, the UN has put Texas on notice. Let's pull that junk up. Let me. No. I want the UN. So here, this was 3 days ago from The Guardian. Also independent. This is a violation of human rights. It violates international law by denying women control over their own bodies and endangering their lives. So Texas is violating international law by forcing women to have babies. And then they've got that anybody can sue a woman who gets an abortion. If they put half the amount of energy of trying to strip women of their rights over their own bodies into, I don't know, prosecuting rapists, I bet they could probably get rid of rape a lot quicker, huh? But you're never going to get rid of rape. You're never going to get rid of that. Particularly in the current system where you got 6,000 backlog, 6,000 untested rape kits. He sucks at this. Greg Abbott, you suck at handling your rape crisis. It's like Texas is number 15 in the country, actually. Number 15 in the country for assault, sexual assault and violence against women. Number 15. Good job. So I think the vice president is getting involved now with this. So it's interesting. Stuck in Florida is saying, Sandy, 6 weeks is when there's usually a heartbeat, and it's the reason for the 6 weeks. At least that's what they said. Yeah, so that's what they've said. And the thing is, the heart is not fully formed at 6 weeks. What you're hearing are the sounds made by cells that are practicing heartbeats. They're not actually a beating heart. Yep, it is a flutter. It's not an actual heartbeat. But they're using this emotional manipulation because, for a wanted pregnancy, it's nice to hear that. And so they're like, "Oh, we can hear the fetal heartbeat." That's what they use, to make it an endearing experience for parents. But unfortunately, people take it literally, and they don't understand. You're forcing women to give birth to babies that they don't want. If it's for wanted pregnancies, okay, that's a sweet sentiment. But if it's an unwanted pregnancy, I mean, you're forcing women to carry a baby based on a few cells that sound like a heartbeat. And then you're going to convict them of murder and give people $10,000 if it's a successful conviction for turning them in. Ah! I think we need some Nina time here in a minute because this is really, really frustrating. So, just to let you guys know, there is a zip code not far from me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. There's a zip code not far from me that has an infant mortality rate that rivals that of a third world country. And the zip code that I'm talking about is primarily a Black community. So these women are having babies because, the stigma associated with abortion. They can't afford prenatal care. Some want babies, but since they can't afford prenatal care, a lot of the babies don't get the nutrition that they need. They don't get the vitamins. They don't get any of that. And so it was such a huge, huge issue. This was about 15, 20 years ago, I guess. Possibly maybe a little bit longer than that. It was such a huge issue that the governor had to intervene and try to do something about the infant mortality rate. These women were having babies in their houses and burying them in the backyard because they were stillborn. And that's freaking traumatizing, okay? That's traumatizing. Not only to, it's traumatizing not only to the women who are going through this, but also to their families, Um, and some of these are from rape. Some of these instances are from incest. Um, but that stigma around abortion, the Planned Parenthood out in the city where I teach, they always have a bunch of old people standing outside there protesting. None of these people could actually have babies if they tried. And they don't care about these babies or the prenatal care or any of that of these women. And so we see a disproportionate amount of Black pregnant people who have an increased risk of dying in child labor because racism in the medical field is real. It is. I'm not going to lie. I know it's real. They don't have access to prenatal care. They don't have access to nutritious foods because they live in food deserts and they don't have cars to take them to the doctor. They don't have cars to go to a proper grocery store. That's a half an hour away. You take the bus, that's several hours because of all the stops it makes. Nobody's going to be able to carry all those groceries sitting on a bus. Being pregnant. So let's not cross hairs here or just assume this is, and now we're looking at this Texas law. This is not just a war on women or just pregnant people. It's also a war on Black people because there is a disproportionate amount of poverty among Black people versus white people in access to adequate health care and things of that nature. So this is a form of eugenics in a way, in my opinion, to where it's a racist freaking law because anybody who is going to need an abortion that's a white person, they'll be able to come up with some kind of funds more than likely in order to leave the state. This is, I mean, if you're middle class, middle class at all, you're going to be able to afford to leave the state for a car ride, go incognito, and get an abortion. And you'll have enough money to where you can, knock the rap. So this is a war on poor people and predominantly poor Black people. That's what this is. I mean, come on. Poor Black people. You prefer to say a war on poor people? Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a war on poor people. But it's Black people who will suffer death and dying and things like that. Because they're the ones who tend to die from stuff like this. There's a disproportionate amount of maternal death among Black women. So let me show you. Let me pull this up. I think it's Guttmacher. Yep. Okay. So let me throw some stats at you because the Guttmacher.org, fantastic website. Fantastic website. It gets into. It's a great website. I've used it before. Let me see. So, in a 1976 article, researchers from the Center for Disease Control examined national abortion data from the 3 years surrounding the rulings and estimated that the number of illegal procedures in the country plummeted from 130,000 to 17,000 between 1972 and 1974. The number of deaths associated with illegal abortions decreased from 35 to 5 in that same time period. Women who died as a result of illegal abortions typically were Black, were more than 12 weeks pregnant, and had self-induced in their own community. The researchers concluded that abortion services need to be improved and available more widely, especially for women at high risk for seeking illegal abortions. So this is going to kill mostly Black women if they don't have access. I mean, it's a disproportionate amount. Let's see what the current let's have a look at this. Racial and ethnic disparities continue in pregnancy. So here is pregnancy deaths. So this is from 2019. So pregnancy-related deaths per 100,000 live births, the pregnancy mortality ratio for Black and this is American Indian and Alaska Native women. older than 30 was 4 to 5 times as high as it was for white women. So there's a disproportionate amount of maternal death. Hey, Susan, among Black and brown people. So even with abortion access, you still have women over the age of 30, Black and brown women have 5 times more likely chance of death over white women. So here, overall, those deaths increased from 15 to 17 pregnancy-related deaths per 100,000 births. Non-Hispanic Black and non-Hispanic American Indian Alaska Native women experienced higher deaths, around 40.8 and 29.7 per 100,000 within the populations. This was 3.2 and 2.3 times higher than for white women. Women over 30, it was 4 to 5 times higher. Black women with at least a college degree, it's 5.2 times that of their white counterparts. So even educated Black women. Cardiomyopathy, thrombotic pulmonary embolism, basically blood clots, that go to your lungs. Hypertensive disorders, so high blood pressure, heart problems, contributed more to pregnancy-related deaths among Black women than white women. Hemorrhage and high blood pressure contributed to that. Disparities were persistent and did not change significantly between 2007, 2008, and 2015 and 2016. So, yeah. So that's what we're looking at. So the CDC doesn't just work in viruses. They also work in helping in reproductive health. So enhancing reviews and surveillance to eliminate maternal mortality. So this is with women having access to abortions. So you can check out Guttmacher Institute. They are fantastic. And also the CDC. I feel like maternal mortality for bi-POC women isn't talked about nearly as much as it should be. The subject just proves that pro-lifers give zero shits about the pregnant person. That's true. Let's look at the current foster care rate. Let's look at the current foster care rate. Alrighty. 24-hour residential, okay. Child care rates. Okay, that's not what all right, so here. Texas is having a problem with foster care crisis. There you go. Hey, Maya, how you doing? So we have a foster care crisis. This was from July of this year. But hey, those babies are going to get born now. Those babies are going to be born now, but there's no place to put them. If like, oh, it's okay, just have people adopt. Oh my gosh. Increased oversight and lack of funding mean hundreds of children spend their nights in hotels, in churches, and on office floors. So this gentleman, Prince Hayward, who grew up in the foster care system, now advocates for positive changes within the system. He's doing good work. He was 6 or 7 years old the first time he spent the night on an office floor. I hate to compare it to jail, but you're basically sleeping on a jail mattress, Hayward said. Most times I didn't sleep, I couldn't sleep. It was the environment, but also just everything was hitting you at the time. There you go. They don't care about kids. None of this. None of this. This abortion law has nothing to do about caring about kids. And I feel like Texas promotes religious adoption agencies that basically have full license to discriminate against anyone they want to. Yes, they can discriminate against gay people. It's not just foster care, says Maya. Texas likes to overlook their rampant rape culture. Yes. And high child abuse rates. It's not a kind state to women's rights. No, it's not. If we required pro-lifers to volunteer in foster care, we'd get rid of them soon. Yeah, if we required pro-lifers to house children in their house and feed them, they'd probably be quiet. They'd probably stop because now there's some kind of responsibility put on them that they didn't have before. Let's look at the rape rate in Texas. In a 2019 study, the Texas Department of Safety reported more than 14,000 rapes. Charges resulted in less than a quarter of those reported cases. So only a fourth of them, less than a fourth of them actually got charges. Less than a fourth. So let's have a look at this. From San Antonio, Texas ranked number 15. Most dangerous state for rape and sexual assault. So it's not in the top 10, but, it's in the top 15. So essentially, where is it? How many? The FBI crime statistics has a rate of 55.2 rapes and sexual assaults per 100,000 people. This is far lower than the most dangerous state, Alaska. 55.2 rapes and sexual assaults per 100,000 people. Greg Abbott is doing a terrible job. It's like, what's going on, man? He's going to just make that go away suddenly. Just suddenly. Poof, it's gone. What's going to happen is people are going to stop reporting rape because now if they report their rape and they get an abortion after that 6 weeks, right? So you guys see where I'm going with this? You see where I'm going with this? Women are going to stop reporting rape because if they report their rape and then they go and have an abortion after 6 weeks, if they report their rape, they can be targeted for that, right? Because the rapist, he could go, but did she get an abortion? If she got an abortion after the 6 weeks, you see what I mean? So the reporting is going to drop. And Greg Abbott will say, see, look, I got rid of rape. That's what's going to happen if this isn't handled like right now. And then he's going to say, see, nobody's reporting rape anymore. That means it quit. No, they stopped reporting rape because they don't want their rapist to sue them for getting an abortion past 6 weeks, or anybody who's friends of the rapist, because anybody can sue you if you get an abortion past 6 weeks, which is really just 4 weeks, as we discussed earlier. So people are just going to stop reporting rapes. That's what's going to happen. And then he's going to say, look, Nobody's reporting rapes anymore. That means it's not happening. That's gonna be the next thing he says. That's why everybody's coming at him right now, yelling at him about this. Oh my goodness, guys. We've been talking for almost 2 hours. I've just had so much to say. Good grief. It's just been a mess. Susan says, Austin Police Department had a backlog of 850 or so rape kits that they had to figure out what to do with because they gathered mold because they sat there in a fridge for so long. There you go. Let's see if we can find an article on that. Yep, you're right. I found an article for that. Hey, August. Alrighty. I found an article from the Dallas Morning News. Hey, Smiling Game Master. Just to confirm what Susan said, hundreds of rape kits gather mold in storage at Austin Police Department. This is from 2017, I believe. There you go. There you go. So the entire state at that time had 20,000 untested kits. They now have 6,000. So they're clearly doing a great job. We used to have 20,000 untested kits. We threw out 800 of them because they're covered in mold. And, but now we're at 6,000. Clearly that's progress. Susan said, for the record, I worked at Austin Police Department when that happened. That was back in 2017. Some of the rape kits went all the way back to the 90s, and they had to outsource help to get them tested. Gosh. I'm sorry, man. Yes, I think, see, I like having the internet right here. Justice Department sues Texas over new abortion ban. That is correct. Attorney General Merrick Garland is suing Texas. Good job, Merrick. There you go. Found this article on NPR. And right now, the Justice Department is seeking a permanent injunction from a federal court in the Western District of Texas, but it's likely the U.S. Supreme Court will have the final word on the matter. Man, yeah, funding the police does not mean that they put any resources into solving crimes, just punishing brown and black people for it existing. You're right. And when people say defund the police, what they mean is restructuring. We need to restructure. We need to stop throwing money at them. They don't need tanks. They don't need grenades. They don't need bazookas. They don't need any of that crap. They don't need any of that. We need social workers. We need therapists involved. You need a whole section that just deals with children. I used to work in a high school. I taught high school science for 5 years. And we had an on-staff officer. I don't care for that. I don't like police presence in a high school. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I think it's absolutely terrible. And there was one instance regarding one police officer at a high school that I worked at. I was an advocate for another student, and I had to get advocacy groups involved because this student was on the spectrum. had Asperger's, and I went against the board who hired me. I got a group called Voices involved. Um, Department of Health and Human Services was involved. DHS was involved. And then this officer felt like they could just sit in on all these meetings. And what this officer was doing was violating privacy. But police, this is what they don't understand. Teachers and administration in schools and the board are bound by privacy laws. Police officers are not. So anything that happens in a school setting when you're dealing with somebody who's on the spectrum or somebody who has a disability and you're trying to help that student, if a police officer is involved, they can tell everybody. They can ruin the life of that kid. And that's what that police officer tried to do, which is why I got advocacy groups involved and they threw that police officer out. They threw him out. Um, and because they threw that person out, I instantly had a hostile work environment at my own high school where I taught because that police officer works there. And they were telling this kid's business to everybody. And I called him out on it. I'm like, you need to stop that. I went to the board about it and I said, you need to stop this police officer. I really came close to filing a formal complaint. But administration loved me because I'm a heck of a teacher. So I was still offered a contract the next year that I turned down. And then I went back to college and got a master's in chemistry. Now I teach college. But just so you guys know, police officers in high schools, they are not bound to privacy laws. And anything that goes on in that high school, they will ruin the lives of teachers. They ruin the lives of kids because they can. They can tell all that business. So if a kid gets in a fight or if a kid becomes, a victim of something, they can tell everybody about it. They can tell everyone. All of it. It's terrible. I'm so sorry, Sandy. But that's why I try to tell people, if you want to know what your rights are, if you have children in school and you want to know what your rights are, I do have a master's degree specialized in secondary science education. I still have an active license to teach. If I want to, I can teach high school. I still have an active license for that. I can teach biology, physical science, or chemistry. If you want to know what your rights are, let me know. I can tell you because I had to learn that. Yeah, good on me for saying something. There were times where I would, when I would go through and I got pencil throwing mad a couple of times. And then the principal would be like, okay, Mel, calm down. What's going on? I'd be like, no, you listen here, Missy. Aha. Oh my goodness. We have a resource officer that works for our school. He's basically a consultant that we barely use, but he's never on campus, thankfully. I've seen him once. Oh my gosh. I mean, at the college, we do have full-on police, but we're dealing with adults in that case. We're not dealing with kids. We're dealing with adults. And the environment at a college is vastly different than that in a high school. Because in a high school, you're heavily regulated. You got so many parents involved. You got laws that apply to minors. You have all kinds of just college. It's a bit different. It still has its own challenges, but it's not the same in any form or fashion with like high school. Um, and when you're an adult, uh, a lot of stuff isn't confidential anyway. But when you're a kid, a police officer can ruin your life when you're making silly mistakes. You know what I mean? They can absolutely destroy your life. And at one point in time, DHS, this police officer was so petty. She actually called DHS on me saying I was an abusive person and all this stuff. And I'm like, come find out I wasn't. I'm like, come on, investigate me. Let's do this. You know, super open and honest and things like that. I was very well liked. So it was like, I'm an open book. So they can do all that stuff. So it's weird. It's weird. It's just all weird. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this up, guys. I think I'm going to wrap this up. We've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about the latest conspiracy theories. We've talked about the COVID vaccine. We've talked about Greg Abbott and his nonsense. And it's just, I can't even or odd anymore. So I will see you guys next Saturday. Let me get my Mr. Rogers book. I'm trying to, I'll be honest, man, it is really hard to make Mr. Rogers proud right now because I'm not being kind on the internet. All right. So this is Understanding Love section from The World According to Mr. Rogers. Human relationships are primary in all of living. When the gusty winds blow and shake our lives, if we know that people care about us, we may bend with the wind, but we won't break. I am looking at you, anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers. Mr. Rogers would be disappointed in you. You need to care about other people for once. My God, please get vaccinated and care about other people for once in your lives. Except, well, but what about my body? I don't want to hear that anymore. You guys are most likely pro-life. A pregnant person is not spreading a terrible virus to you that can kill you. But you are. And you're killing pregnant people, by the way, with your COVID juice. Care about others. Human relationships are primary in all of living. When the gusty winds blow and shake our lives, if we know the people care about us, we may bend with the wind, but we won't break. The World According to Mr. Rogers. This is a great book. Yes, Mr. Rogers should be required reading. See, that's why when it's Valentine's Day, I just call it Mr. Rogers Day because he loved everyone. Do not disappoint Mr. Rogers. I know I have lately on social media by not being kind. But sometimes you gotta just give a bit of tough love with people and say, would you just stop it? You're embarrassing yourself. Ah, oh well. Hey, Leah. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And I'll end with this. You always make each day special for me. You know how? By just your being you. I will see you guys next Saturday. Bye.